Welcome to Palestine Speaks. I'm Kim Obour, and in this podcast, it's all about raising awareness, sharing breaking news, and shining a light on stories that often don't get heard. Here we dive into real conversations with aid workers, activists, and people on the front lines to bring the truth about Palestine and the bigger picture all around it. So why does this matter? Because Palestine's story is about more than just headlines. It's about people, resilience, and justice. So if you're ready to learn, connect, and make a difference, then you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Today, I have my best friend, Steve, here. Hi, Steve.
Hi, KimO. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being here today. I was super excited when you agreed to come on my show. You're my very first guest, so I'm super excited that you're
Really?
here.
I thought you already
Yes.
had one before this. Was that
I
on something
haven't,
else?
that was on something else. So I guess you could say that was before my official podcast got started.
Okay.
Like, this is what I call my official setup and everything like that. But
Thank you
yeah,
for
I did do
having
an
me.
interview. No problem. I did
It's
do
an
an interview
honor.
before, and that is on my YouTube page as well. This will be on my YouTube, also streaming on Spotify, and all the fun places that you can find a podcast. So I'm really excited to have you here, and I was hoping that we could just have a conversation, see what happens like we normally do. For people that
Absolutely.
maybe don't know, we are actually friends. We have known each other for a little while,
Quite a bit. How long
and
now?
I think we've been friends since like last summer. So at least 6 months, if not a
At
little bit
least.
longer.
At least. It feels like large.
Yeah,
So much has happened. And so
so much has happened in such a time period. Yes. So when we first met, it was in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention last summer. And was that in end
I
of
think I
July, beginning
remember
of
that.
August?
August 19th,
Yes.
exactly? Yes.
Yes. And so there were so many things that happened that particular weekend, but the big one for you is you got arrested while in
Yes.
Chicago during the protests. And I was hoping that you could talk to us a little bit about what happened before you were arrested, and we'll just continue from there.
So we're just going to dive right in, straight to the
Yeah.
hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
How was your weekend? No, I'm just kidding. Just absolutely. Hey, I'm an honest person. I can't shut. Well, I'll work on it. But my family emblem, my Scottish family emblem, says confido. It means to be confident in myself, that others can confide in me, and just be a trustworthy person. And if anyone who knows me knows that I wear my heart on my sleeve, so it's like
Yes, you do.
we were at the DNC convention. A lot of us and some of our friends, former and new friends, were there, and we were all protesting together, standing up for the oppressed people of the world, for a free Palestine. We had presidential candidates there with us. Claudia de la Cruz was one of them. I think
Yes.
Jill Stein was amongst. She wasn't in the march, but I was very passionate about standing up for a free Palestine. We were in the park right after some fences were breached, but the DNC you can see it off in the distance, like it's like a mile away. You know what I mean? Thousands and thousands of officers in between, and they're just like so worried about this small group of protesters right here. Really, they had nothing better to do. But um, yes, I was violently assaulted, falsely accused of aggravated assault on a peace officer. We got all the footage. It was live on TikTok when it happened.
Yes.
I've seen officer cam footage, everything leading up to that. I did nothing wrong. The spot where they're claiming that there was an assault that happened, I'm walking down the line of police officers, got my flag, got my phone. I'm yelling. Oh, I'm saying things that are upsetting them. You know what I mean? Using my First Amendment right, freedom of speech. And a protester that was standing right there kind of steps in front of me, right? Blocks my vision with his flag. It makes me kind of duck under it. And as I duck under it, you see my elbow almost like lightly brushes up against an officer as he body checks me underneath the ribs. Bam, almost knocks me over. And I was like, what the hell? Anyways, as Free Palestine kept going. And about 10 seconds after that, right up on top of an officer, a captain who had seen it happen from 25 foot back and down the hill, right? And just thought he saw something happen, reached through the crowd of riot officers who was clearing out the park at the time, and grabbed me, pulled me in. When 7 officers jumped on top of me, dragged me across the concrete, scarred my legs for life, and emotionally scarring for life. It's pretty traumatic. Like, even just
Yes.
talking about it right now, I'm having some sort of emotions coming up,
Yeah, and that's completely understandable. I remember when I was there, I was back a little bit ways because you guys were moving so fast. I was having a hard time keeping up. And by the time I had my eyes on you guys, and then by the time that I think like 5 seconds had happened, you were gone. And then I heard that you had been taken by the police. And so we were trying to like get more footage, try to figure out where your phone was, where your flags were, all that kind of stuff because we didn't know anything.
Thanks for
Um,
finding my phone.
and we eventually found all your stuff, which was by saving grace because there was tons of people over there. And so what you don't know, because you were taken into custody, is right at that same time after you were taken, the police and everybody that was around started to really encompass and surround us. And they kept saying, move back, move back, move back. So they were coming in after you were taken. And it happened so fast. I mean, within like, I say like maybe 2 minutes, you were gone and we were trying to figure out what happened, where you were. I actually thought that somebody else that was protesting with us had been taken too as well, but turns out that they weren't taken at that time. So it was really crazy in that moment trying to understand what had happened. Now, since, after that day happened, I was supposed to be going home that same day from Chicago, but after you were taken, I decided to stay a little bit longer just to
Right.
see what had actually, because I wanted to make sure you were okay. And so I think all of us ended up staying at least an extra day to make sure you were okay. But when I remember after I got back home and we heard that you were released, I thought that this would be like just kind of like a brush on the, a slap on the wrist kind of thing,
Right.
nothing major to really come from it. And then to hear the whole aftermath of that, it is really wild to think like you have serious charges that are being pressed against you that you have to actually go to court for. And you have already been in court several times to this day. And you're still fighting these charges. And the biggest one that like really bothers me the most is how they're trying to say that you assaulted a peace officer because there was no assault whatsoever. You were taken, you were tackled to the ground by officers. So the fact that they're trying to say that you hurt or assaulted someone in any type of way just doesn't make sense to me. And so what's the next steps with like the whole process with like the court cases and stuff like that?
Well, leading up to that, we're jumping over the jail part, but
Well,
we'll
no,
touch on that at some part because it was
before we get there, that's actually a good point. Is I do want to talk about your jail time because that was a very scary situation. I know that. Just tell us about like your experience being in jail because you've never been in jail before,
oh
and I'm
no,
sure that that
that's
was
not true.
very. I didn't know that. Well, this is
I
a different
haven't
type.
been in I haven't been in trouble or in jail since I was 19 years old in Alabama.
Okay.
Okay, I was always in trouble in Alabama growing up for the most minor of things for the most part. We'll talk about that some other time. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I was actually in and out of jail for an entire from 18 years old to 19 for like they for like smoking weed. So as a kid, you
Okay.
know what I mean? Like something that's
Yeah.
simple, and they put me in like serious drug court things with people that like their lives were threatened by the substance they were abusing, and even put me in like adult work release programs with serious offenders where to where like it was on the outside of the jail, but you like live there in bunk beds and like cook together and like what are
Yeah.
they doing? But I left Alabama and was never in trouble a day since until now. But at the age of almost 40 years old, I'll be 40 in May. But back on track here. Sorry, my ADHD is showing.
Yeah. I have it too. I have it too.
After being brutally assaulted and arrested, I can't help but to be, kind of the wise guy, to like, this guy thinks it's funny. He's smiling. I didn't expect to get arrested, but I was still proud to get arrested for the cause. It's a badge of honor that not a lot of people can hold. But again, I'm facing serious charges. I don't know if this isn't embarrassing to like say, but this is natural. I'm a human with a human body. I had 5 men jump on top of me, equal about 750 pounds. That crushed me underneath. This is embarrassing to say, but it forced me to defecate my pants. I told them that, hey, let me clean myself. They made me sit in it for like 14 hours. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
That's
Not only,
abuse.
yeah, oh, it absolutely was. Not only that, they put me in handcuffs. They're taking my pictures and stuff. I still got to be funny. I'm like, oh, get my good side. Yeah. Oh, they say I look like Brad Pitt. And like, oh, it was funny. But throughout my life, places that I don't fit in, people, they want to make not what's the word I'm looking for? Make an example out of me.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. I think he's so funny. And they started the mental mind games right away. Well, first they were saying it was only like just disturbing the peace, like at first it was disturbing the peace, and it was like just disorderly conduct. Then they just kept raising it to the point. Well, first on the way there, it was just me and one other person, right? He got arrested for dancing. For dancing, like right when they started to form the police line to clear out, he ran to the other side and was like, no, no, no. They brutally assaulted and tackled him, carried him away like an animal by his legs and arms, like hanging upside down. And that was what triggered me to be like, what are you doing? You can't treat people this way. And that's what led up to my arrest, even though I didn't touch anybody. But they threw us in the back of like the paddy wagon. We were handcuffed hard. Like I had to like beg them multiple times because my shoulders were popping out of their sockets. Seriously. Like I had shoulder problems, and I was in like already just like in brutal pain after being assaulted, and my legs were bleeding completely, just like gushing blood. They're like, well, do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, well, no, I don't need to go to the hospital, but I do need medical attention. I was like, yeah, you need to like patch my like, but we were in the back of the wagon. There's no seatbelts in there, y'all. You sit kind of parallel to a wall. It's a concrete bench with a concrete bench in the middle and another concrete bench. And like they can chain you to it, but they didn't. So the best you just try to prop yourself in the corner with your legs, and they purposely drove like they were in NASCAR, right? They were going over the speed limit, drifting around corners, like, and then slamming it back and forth. We were falling all over, like flipping over backwards and stuff. And like, again, my shoulders are like popping out of their socket. Like, not to mention I'm covered in, you know what, like, and it was horrible. It was horrible. We got there, and like, eventually I was able to get like cleaned up, but they threw me in a cell up near the detectives where I'm telling you, there's dead rats on the ground. There are dead rats on the ground. There's blood splatters on the wall, and like dead roaches on the ground, just like a mattress on the ground that just looks like the grossest thing you can imagine, And we had multiple detectives coming in and talk to me, and they're like, oh, the person that you assaulted, he's in critical condition in the hospital. He might die, actually. I knew that was bullshit, but when you got multiple people telling you that, and you know how cops can be corrupt, especially in Chicago, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Multiple saying that, oh, he might die. You're going to be in here forever. You're never going to see your family again. You're never going to see your daughters again, your friends, your fiance at the time, and like, I started to believe it to be true. And like, I thought I wasn't going to get out. Sorry, let me calm down a little bit, but.
No, you're okay. So just while you're taking a second, at this point in time, you had been in jail for longer than everyone else who was arrested that same day, right? You had been there I think you were there for a full 48 hours before you were released. Is that correct?
They actually ended up going like over the 48 because they were
Really
so messed up, didn't know what the hell they were doing. They ended up going past like 52, like, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And, first of all, that's another thing that's against your civil rights as a person. And in Chicago, supposedly, what they say is there's like, they can't hold you once you've been arrested. Like once you've been arrested and charged, they have to release you. They arrested you, but did not charge you with a specific person's purpose. So they could keep you in there longer than anybody else that was charged with a crime or charged with disturbing the peace or anything like that had to do with the DNC protests. And I think a lot of people didn't realize is that when the DNC protest was going on, Chicago had set up a separate system to hold all of you guys for this particular protest on top of all their other jails that they have in the city. Like this was a specialized place that they set up with the only purpose was to hold people from protests during the DNC protesting. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, the officers even told me that Kamala Harris herself came through to view this small jail, which was like underground, by the way, underground. It's cold and scary, but they painted the rusty bars black just for her, and like gave it a paint job. It was like they made a whole spectacle out of it. Like,
I know, because like I remember hearing like they said it was like a new facility, which wasn't new at the time. It was just they painted and they
probably one
updated
of the
it, you
oldest
could
ones they've
say.
ever had.
Yeah, they just made it updated to make it look a specific way for when she walked through.
Yeah, is kind of strange, don't you think? So while we were there, thankfully I was getting representation from the National Lawyers Guild, and
Yes.
multiple of them come through, like 5 different people. Like that was the only time I kind of got to get out and like trying to figure out what was happening around me. But time is so strange, especially if you're like neurodivergent. If you got a ADHD, maybe that touch of autism, and you don't know what time it is, you don't know what if the sun's up, if it's down, if you're supposed to be sleeping, and you haven't been
And because
eating,
you're underground, you have no
you're
idea what
underground.
time it is. Well,
Exactly. The one part that like really kind of messed with my head for a second was, I'm like, oh, it's like 10:30 at night. I was convinced it's like 9:30, 10:30 at night. You know what I mean? And I get a call to go talk to my lawyer, or like to talk to a lawyer representation. And it was 9:30 in the morning. I was like, my mind just like melted for a second. I was like, what? Because I mean, you're trying to sleep and stuff, but it was freezing cold in there on purpose. They did it on purpose. It was about 49, 50 degrees underground in there, like with air blowing. They were blowing AC down there. Okay, I was arrested in shorts and a t-shirt. Well, I had more on but they stripped my clothes off me. You know, I had a keffiyeh on, the watermelon shirt, a hat, sunglasses. Once they arrested me, I was down to a tiny t-shirt and some shorts. Yeah, but it was very, very cold. They don't give blankets out.
so were you held by yourself or were you in a cell with other
I was
people?
by myself. Yeah.
And so the one thing that I'm not sure that you even knew, I may have told you this after the fact, but when you were arrested, there was several other people that were arrested as well. They had processed and released all of those people except for you. And then the next day was the second day of protesting at the DNC. They arrested a whole bunch more people. They came in, they were still in there and released before you were released,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it was really crazy because we didn't understand like what was the purpose of holding you for so much longer than everybody else who had come in, been charged, released. That happened twice, even before you were even let out for the first time.
Because they were trying to trump up the charges.
Yes.
They had to find the officer that was assaulted to begin with, and get him to be like, oh yeah, I was assaulted. Like
Yeah.
seriously, and get him to sign a paper so they could bring the charges up and up. And they raised those charges from something that's a slap on the wrist to something that I am facing up to 7 years in prison for freedom of speech. Like, even if you don't stand for the Palestinian cause or for the oppressed people of the world, and you're just like, dude, American, you care about freedom of speech, right? Like,
Yes.
no one should be arrested or targeted or lives ruined because of it, which, of course, started a steamroll of personal problems, of course, activists, personal problems, jobs, but I
Yes.
wanted, I wanted to touch back real quick on the how cold it was in there, because I ended up using like an extra mattress that was in there that happened to be just like stained and gross anyway, like, and had to use that as a like a blanket just to kind of like not shiver. If I wasn't like trying to like work out or move around, I was like shivering straight up. So, and my legs got infected for like weeks after that. It took
I
my
remember
my
that.
my girlfriend at the time like who was a nurse, would take care of my knees, to otherwise they would have gotten pretty infected. But
Yes. Yes. So sorry, my nose itches. So as after this has all happened, and I remember when you got out, I was back home by this point in time. I think all of us had returned home, but you had actually had to fly back after that date. I think it was, how many days later was it? Was it 3 or 4 days after you were arrested that you were able to go home?
oh, I had to cancel like three different flights. It was like 2 or 3 different flights. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be at work, of course, and all this stuff. But
And actually, this did affect your working situation because you eventually did lose your job. And even though they can say that it wasn't because of that particular reason, we know that all of that does go play a factor into, you know,
Absolutely.
you missed a couple days of work without being able to call, and that did affect your livelihood at the time,
And it didn't
right?
help that the company and like the mechanic like were
Yes.
supporting
That
the side that we don't support. You know what I mean?
yes,
I
yes.
don't know how much you say on your podcast
You
here.
can say anything you want on here. This is totally fine.
Okay, cool. So I'd be like,
In the edit
fuck
side, I may
Israel. Israel's a
yes,
bitch. All right, cool.
they are a
Free
bitch.
Palestine.
And when I am getting ready to repost this, I will like edit a couple pieces or maybe add a little bleepy little noise. But we are
Yeah,
totally fine to
sure.
say anything that we like right here, right now. So don't worry about it. So just to break from that little bit of a story,
Yeah.
because that's a very intense topic. Um,
Yeah, headaches
very
from
intense
talking about
topic.
it.
I'm so sorry, Steve.
No, it's fine.
I just feel like, I know that we've shared a little bit of what happened on TikTok and things like that, but I don't feel like everybody really knows like the details of like getting arrested, how it's affected you. And that's the next thing that I really want to talk about is like, what has this done to you as a person, like in your personal life? How has this affected your life and your livelihood and all those things?
It's like where to start, you know what I mean? Well, I could
Yeah.
start by coming out it what happened when I came out of jail. Like once they finally released me, you were in the TikTok live, weren't you? Weren't you on the panel or something?
Yes. Yes. I was on the panel with you. Yeah.
My poor dog. Come out. I'm blinded by the light. We're like clapping and cheering. I'm like, what's going on? And there were people clapping and cheering for the people coming out of jail there, which I was one of them, and then this one like weird dude. But he was fine. But and there were like news sources there and everything. People had camped out there, and then um Kim and Vesna were running the TikTok live, and there was 300 something 50 people to welcome me getting out of jail, which was kind of sweet and all. But yeah, it affected my jobs. Love you too, baby. What was I saying? Oh yeah,
You said it affected your job.
I ended up losing my job over it because it's just the steamroll problems that led up to that point, and yeah, and then with that, of course, like losing apartments, almost becoming houseless. Without if it wasn't for the generosity of Jackie and her mom, Winnie.
That's something else that I really want to talk to you about because I feel like people on TikTok only see one version of you. They
Right.
see you as someone who comes out, who speaks out for Palestinians, who is loud and proud, but they don't really know who you are as a person. And I do because we know each other personally. We are really good friends. And I don't think that
You're my
people
family.
yes. And I just feel like people think that because you do all these things online that you have a lot of money and that you have no problems in the world. And, why should you complain? Right? Because you have more than everybody else has. And I just want to say that I know you, Steve, and this is such not an easy thing to do. We both have had a lot of personal struggles with in our own lives. And on top of that, it really hurts my feelings when people come at you with like all of these crazy things that you hear online. And one of them that I really want to talk to you about is like when people send you death threats or they threaten you or your family's lives or the people that you care about because you have received many death threats as I have, but yours have been even more explicit than I have received. I think as a female, I receive more of like the rape or the R word threats
Right.
than probably
It's
you
horrible.
do. Yes, it is, but I take any threats very seriously, and I think that you should as well. And I just want you to tell us, like, because I know that you've gotten some death threats and some other things, and how does that affect you personally? How do you deal with that? Like seeing people like it's one thing for someone to say, "Oh, I'm going to kill you," but it's another thing
Right.
when they give you details about how they're going to do it. You understand? So
Exactly.
how does that affect you, and what do you do to stay safe when you're doing protests and stuff like that?
Well,
I know
about
it's a
the,
hard question.
about the death threats leading up to, well, that, rose in intensity, over the past 50 plus days, and, there's the threats in person. I've had someone pull up to me at a protest, look me dead in my eyes, say, I'm a cop. They say, I'm a cop. I'm going to follow you home and I'm going to fucking kill you. Not today. And I was like, oh, really? That's the threat. I'm going to defend myself. Just smashed the hell out of the side of his truck so hard with my pole, like left a huge dent on it. He said, I got that on camera. I'm going to call the cops. I said, I thought you were the cops. He drove off. Like, I never saw him again. But, yeah, one of the latest threats was someone messaging me on WhatsApp. I'm not sure exactly who they are, but telling me the next major city that I go to protest in, that they're going to pay someone there that they know, because they know people all over the place. And $1,000 to $3,000 is enough, because Americans are so poor that they're desperate and willing to do anything. And he's probably right. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably true, actually. I take, like, that's a serious threat.
That is a very serious threat. And I just feel like when people make threats against you, like, I don't feel like people don't know you. Like, they know what you do online, but they don't know you as a person. Like, they don't know, like, how this all affects you. Like, when you hear stories of people being murdered every day, you have to, not only are you hearing it, you see it, you have families that come to you, they tell you these stories personally. This all affects you. And the fact that you're able to get up here every single day and continue says a lot about who you are as a person, about what you really care about, which is people, you know? And I just want to make sure that you know that I see you. I may not always be in your live streams, but I see you, Steve. And I just want you to know that you are very real. It's going to make me cry. But I care for you so much. I see the hard work that you put in. And I want you to know that no matter what happens, I have your back. Because you are a friend to me, and it's more than a friend. You're my brother, and I care about you. So, that's my cry for the moment.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Virtual hug.
My little sweet Steve. I just, like, it just kills me that people, like, say these nasty things when they don't know the first thing about you. They don't know the first thing about me. They just see what you do, and they think that you have all this money, you have all this power, when realistic, like, we have nothing. We have nothing. We have ourselves. We have the people that we care about. We have the people that we're helping. But other than that, what do we have? We have love. That's it.
We have love. We have our community that we've gained through this movement, which is a lot. And we got good karma, too. I'll say it. We got some good karma. We better, if karma exists, it'd be better if we have some.
But I just want people to realize that we are not rich. This is not a money scheme. This is not a money grab. Like, if we wanted to make money, this would not be what we chose to do. You know what I mean? If that was our main purpose, was to make money, this would not be what we would be doing, right?
Exactly. I want to be completely honest with you. Me and Jackie were adding up, like, how deep of a hole I'm in on the way over here. Not on purpose, but I got those numbers in my head right now, and I want to say it. I want to say them.
Go for it. Go for it.
For one, I had put enough money into my account that someone had donated to me, said, do not give this to families, like, and I had, like, just enough to pay a car payment that's been overdue. Okay, my daughter's mom's car payment. I don't want, I still want to try and support my children, you feel me? But it won't let me pay it. It says you cannot pay this car payment because you have outstanding loans elsewhere. It won't even let me pay my credit cards right now on my bank or any of my cars, which is one that Vesna's driving and one that my daughter's Olive's mom is driving, Zaytuna. But that's Arabic for Olive. And so we estimated the credit cards, and, like, without adding the cars on top of it, because that's not necessarily considered debt. I'm gonna say it's about $50,000 right now. And that's all been accumulated since mainly in the past year, during this. I mean, we all know that our tax dollars would go into fund a genocide. So I was kind of proud. I was happy to get fired. I was like, I don't want to, I was already up on the end of my rope, like, ready for a mental breakdown. I don't want my tax dollars to go fund a genocide. Now, I got paid pretty good. So that means, like, there was $3,000, $4,000 a month going to genocide. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But at the same time, that's also $3,000 or $4,000 a month that you don't currently have.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you don't have a way, or as of right now, you don't have, like, a set way of returning that income that you once made when you were working full time. So the fact that you have people in your life who are willing to help you and give you the space to be able to protest, to be able to go and do these things, that's like a tremendous help for you, correct?
Oh yeah, I owe so much to Mama Wynn and my girlfriend Jackie. I rely on them to feed me. They literally are keeping me alive while I'm trying to do this work that they believe in. They believe in me,
Yes.
they believe in the work, and that's how we met through the movement, protesting on a bridge together. What's more beautiful than that? To find your family that way, to find your tribe, and through your passion and what you truly care about, which is standing up for the oppressed people of the world. And yeah, I'm
I
like
know,
forever in debt to them.
and I just know like part of that like death threat that came to you was about, people thinking that you have all this money. And as soon as I read that, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like they obviously don't know anything about you because like if they knew you, that's the farthest thing. Like even for me, like when people say, "Oh, you're rich, you have all these followers, blah blah blah," it's like, no, like followers does not equal money. Like
No.
that is not how it equates. You have to have like a business mind to be able to like make money with what we do. But even with that, most of the money, pretty much all of the money that we make on TikTok goes back to families, right? Like that's the biggest thing that I want to make clear is every piece of money that you make, whether it be one coin, 10,000 coins, doesn't matter. You give all of that money back to families in your morning show, correct?
Correct.
Or actually,
Or
not
I'll
just in
stop
your
by
morning show.
random,
Yes,
or I'll even stop by random live like Hotum, or like, oh, I haven't
yes.
seen Hotum in a while. I'll come and drop a
You used to
galaxy.
stop in my
Let's
lives as
see.
well.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they just give me a warm welcome. So it's nice to come in sometime, like,
Yes.
but
Yeah, I've had several panels where you'd come in and give families there as well. But I just find it, it just boggles my brain that people think like we have all this extra money just laying around and, we don't know what we're going to do with it next. And it's like, no, everything that we do is through someone who likes what we do and actually wants to help us in our own particular cause.
people literally have to
Right?
say, do not give this to
Yes.
families in
They
Gaza.
make it
Stephen, promise
very
me.
specific. Or when we are asking for like donations for specific things to go to protests or anything like that, we make sure to tell them that this is what this money is for. And if you donate it, please make sure that you are saying that that is exactly what this money is for. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
otherwise,
I haven't even done that in months and months.
Yes.
At one point, I was like, hey, help us get the gas tank to get to this place for a protest. But I'm not, I just gave up on that too. So it's like all of it, everything. And we even figured out, my amazing co-host figured out a way while people were really trying to say some like sideways shit like that, that we were able to figure out a way how to change the percentages of the gifts that go to the guest. So instead of, we realized like, for like every $10 that you would give towards the families, they would actually end up getting more like $7.50 worth of it type thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Somewhere around that, or so like, and we were able to change that to where every gift that goes towards the family, they got all the percentage of it, and none of it would go to the host, which was great for the families. But at the same time, it brought us like out of the A leagues and down into the B leagues and C leagues, and that.
Yes.
I think that might have been actually one of the reasons, because my show wasn't technically popular, technically in the leagues. That was one of the reasons it actually got banned and was not able to like get unbanned. I was like, but
So that's actually another thing that I want to talk about, because you had a page with over 30,000 followers.
35.
And
hit 35.
Just hit 35,000 followers. And what happened? Do you even know what happened?
From what I understand, Trump signed an executive order. This was right after TikTok came back after being banned. Oh, Trump sued TikTok. No, it didn't. He did. The biggest money grab that we've seen. He signed an executive order saying any criticism. Check me on this. I'm pretty sure this is accurate. Any criticism. Thank you. Criticism of Israel was considered anti-Semitic and hate speech.
Yes, it is.
And overnight, I was actually sitting there. I'd logged into my account. I'd gifted the noisy immigrant just like a heart me gift. Did you want to stay on the team? Support the noisy immigrants live, because he's an awesome dude and his team's awesome. But and right after that, like I was just getting my morning coffee. I just watched it go, like it just disappeared. I'm like, huh? Where'd it go? What happened? Did I do something? And then I jump into my backup account, which was SR Protest SteveO 2. I just got them all named the same thing now, just lettered differently. But I watched that one just disappear too, and that one got suspended, and it's still suspended. It could be, I don't even, it won't let me access this, so that could even be suspended until 2034, as far as I know, because been hearing people.
2034.
Yeah, like you're suspended for like forever. But my co-host said, Steve, whoever banned your main account did you a great service, because you're coming back like stronger, more powerful than ever. Like in the past, I was looking at the numbers from the past week on, I want to say this account, but I'm not on an account right now. On SR Protest SteveO 3, we've had 76,000 views in the past 7 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a lot for just going live and protesting. And like today, we had 2,000 people come through from a gifting panel in 2 hours. Like that's big for a gifting panel. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
But,
you know what I think you should try to do?
What?
This is my own personal opinion. This is just what I think you should try to do. I think that you should find some people who are really good with social media, because I know you know a ton of people from all over the place, and you should have them clip some of your work together for you for like more professional like videos for like your page. So that way, when you don't have time to create a video, you have a backlog of all of these things. And I know that people would be willing to do that for you. I bet if you just asked.
Oh, definitely. Well, hey, that'd be awesome. I'd love to ask.
You know what I mean?
Jackie's
I think that's
gotten pretty good at it lately. She started,
yes.
She'll run the camera all the time too. So if I don't catch something, she will, and she's been able to edit it pretty good. Like, man, we had some videos going viral on the one that got banned, like of the grandma going crazy, like swinging her cane at me, and like fighting CDOT employees on the street, or like.
And you'll have to tell Jackie that I have a full strategy on how to go viral. So if she would like to know that, just tell her to hit me up, and I can give her my full playlist of how to do that. Yeah, I will definitely let her, I'll call her or something and we can set that up, because like if you do like the same 6 steps in every single video, that's all I do. Like this is another thing that I think people think is like, just because like, oh, what you say is so important. I don't think so. All I've done is to just figured out the algorithm enough to like get my videos to perform in a particular way. And once you figure that out and you do those same 5, 6 steps in every single video, that's it.
Right.
That's it. So I will definitely talk to Jackie to help you out with that piece, because I think if you had that piece, your videos would be over 1 million views every single time you're posting. So
there's some good ones that would back in the day would only get a couple hundred, and like, that you'd think were like, oh, this should have got. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And but the thing about like my account is my posts were never like what really did it for me. You know what I mean? It was always
your lives.
Always the lives, which is its own thing. You know what I mean? But even on this like account, I made a post about how Gaza's not for sale, and it's gotten the most viral for like me, which is not a lot for everybody. It was like up to like almost 160,000 views, and but it was pretty good. But I forgot where I was going with this. Something about the live, right?
Yeah, it was about your live streams. It's okay.
I don't know.
We both have ADHD, and it definitely plays with us sometimes. So going back just a little bit, because we never really finished the conversation about that. I know that you're still in court. You're still trying to figure that out. Do you have any expectations of what you hope will happen or what will happen with the court case that's going on right now?
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say now, kind of. I was going to say, it kind of looks like we're going to have to do like more than one episode. Because, man, we could do a whole hour episode of like just me choking out the IOF soldier on the bridge. That was after I got arrested. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah,
the only thing I will say with that is I probably wouldn't want to say too much, because you never know. Like, people could always come back later on and say, hey, you admitted to this on whatever show, and then could possibly, you know what I mean? So I would just like, maybe.
Well, with him, that was the cops called it a citizen's arrest. So I mean, like,
okay. Well, if the cops say that, then who cares?
Yeah, like he was charged and shit, like, and they're like,
okay, that was the guy who was charged. I forgot about the guy who was charged for harassing you.
2 people charged.
Yes. Good.
I was like, what the hell does that mean? Did you see the balloons go on? I was like,
it's the peace sign. Is that what did it? I don't know. I don't know what that was either. But no, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and we will definitely have to do this again. Yes. Oh, that's cute. I didn't know it did that. It's not working for me. Maybe just you. Cute. So, yeah. See, you got something going on that doesn't work for my phone. You get a
Well,
heart too?
I was wondering because that's universal now. You know that, right?
Yes.
When people go like that, that's finger hearts. But
Yes. It's
yeah,
like you're on TikTok.
I know, right?
So
But yeah, court.
go ahead. Go ahead.
This would probably be the seventh court date. Thankfully, I've only had to go to court in Chicago in person once. I'm going to have to go again for my final court hearing, which my lawyer says is. He told me, "Oh, it's not looking good," because they refuse to talk to us. So we just keep requesting more and more things. First, we got the footage, we got this, we got this. My lawyer still said, I don't think you did anything wrong. I really don't think they're going to charge you with anything, but like, we're just trying not to get a felony at this point. You know what I mean? There's talk of, oh, you're not going to be allowed to leave Chicago pending 30 days of your final court date. Or one of the penalties could be you get house arrest in Chicago where you don't live. I was like, how does that? You got to
How does
find
that
somewhere
work?
to live and be in a house. I guess hopefully like someone could take me in for a few months or I don't know how long. Like, and y'all, this courthouse is connected to the prison. There's like barbed wire, like it's an old prison too, and it's scary. Like you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
doors, like if you get sentenced and like they put handcuffs on you, they walk you through the doors and you're in the prison just like that with barbed wire around you and armed guards. Like, and
And
yeah,
this
I
prison
don't.
is not like it's from a small city. This is a large city with a large prison with a lot of really dangerous people. Like it's not like where I live and where I'm from, like we have some dangerous people, but nothing in comparison to like the city of Chicago.
Right.
You know what I mean? So definitely is a very, very scary situation for you. And I just want you to know that we're all thinking about you, praying for you, and hoping that things do turn out well for you. Um, but wait a minute. What was I going to ask you? My brain
That-
just stopped working. My ADHD is coming out now. So that's the other thing I wanted to ask is what do you think like the future for your protesting? A lot of people think that because the ceasefires happened, which we all know is a bunch of crap,
Yeah.
right? It's a bunch of bullshit.
And they're already saying they're going back on it this weekend because
Well, not only are they going back, but they've already started in on the West Bank. Like that has been ongoing and they've even picked up their
oh yes,
aggressions there as well. So, but
we talked to
people like,
Sammy this. Sorry, go ahead.
yes, no, you're fine.
We talked
Mainstream
to
media thinks, go ahead, go ahead.
we talked to Sammy this morning, which is like the godfather of the journalist. You saw him. He was saying that they during their ceasefire they killed 90 people in Gaza during the
I
ceasefire.
actually think that number is a little higher. I think it's more closer to
Of
100
course,
now.
I'm
Yes.
sure. I'm sure. But that's not ceasefire. And
No.
declaring a ceasefire and immediately going next door and dropping bombs and shooting and killing people is not a ceasefire. Never in
Well,
any sense of the word.
we already know that this was never about getting the hostages back. That's never was the point of all of this. And there's been even footage released of people in the Israeli government saying that that was not the point of what they were doing. Like they wanted to exterminate an entire group of Palestinian people that live on the land, and that was what the whole point of all this was for, is to exterminate.
Mhm.
And so now that they are not bombing Gaza, they've moved on to the West Bank. But again, we've heard reports coming out that that ceasefire may not hold too much longer, which is wild to me. It's absolutely wild to me. And I can't even wrap my head around the fact that like we just got it stopped kind of in one place. They've started in another. So like in my brain, I was trying to figure out, oh, now we have to work for the West Bank on top of still working for people in Palestine, on top of still helping the families that did evacuate to Egypt or Jordan or wherever else in the world that they are possibly in. It just seems like it's never going to be an ending thing, and that we are always going to be involved in this in some way or another, whether there's fighting or whether there's not fighting. How do you see like this playing out for you for the rest of your life?
I've had many people tell me, and like I agree with my like auntie. She's become like a character on some of my lives when I go downtown. She's like an aunt, like a real aunt to me. She fought for the uh, oppressed people of the world her whole life, and stands up for free Palestine. And she's like Steve, this is your true calling. And it is like, once you just know something, you know it. You know what I mean? I've never been like really passionate about anything. So I always like driving semi trucks. So that's cool. But I'm not like passionate. I'm not like, yeah. I'm like, this is my helping oppressed people is my passion, and I expect to keep doing this for the rest of my life. Let's say we succeed in all of our goals of freeing Palestine, and we help them rebuild. It doesn't stop there. Like, I mean, just in Palestine in general, like Sammy was saying, the journalist, it's going to take so long to emotionally recover from this, the trauma alone. He says every single Palestinian person needs like trauma treatment bad. And he's like, I'm not going to lie, Steve, even myself, that's hard for people to admit
Men to admit,
sometimes.
yes,
Yeah, especially because, Palestinian men are strong, but
yes,
y'all, we're all people. We all need mental health. Is so important.
yes.
And
And that's another
including
piece that I
myself.
really want to bring up with you. That's another piece that I really want to bring up with you. And it's something that I'm going to focus on in every single episode that I do with another person is personal mental health. What are you doing to keep your mental health in check and healthy while dealing with everything that we see every day, from death to destruction to dealing with families? What is something that you are doing for your mental health right now that really helps you?
It can be something as small as it's got to be a choice. You got to actively be making the choice to, okay, I need to do something that's good for my mental health today. Man, most of us haven't watched movies in a long time. Like, most of us have stopped doing anything that we
Yes.
used to do. Like, it's okay. It's okay to watch a movie again. It's okay to play some video games. Last night, me and Jackie, we were just like, oh, let's go on an adventure on my e-bike. We left at 8. We didn't get back until midnight. We're like, what the time? We went to see the flooded river and went to the bridge, did some light vandalism, no, light activism, you know what I mean? But
Light activism. I
light
like that.
activism, yeah, we'll call it that. And went to the state park, went to the playground, and just like hung out and played, like swung on the swings, and like it was good mental health night, you know what I mean? You just actively
Yes.
search out mental health things to do, take a break sometime, that's okay. But at
And
the
I just
same
want to
time, we
go
need to
ahead.
stay in the fight. So
Yes. And I just want to say that along with that mental health piece is like, it is okay. And I know this personally, it is okay to take a break. Don't let anybody tell you. I mean, from what we experience, what we see, what we do, what we hear, we need to take small breaks. I'm not saying take a break and be gone for a month and a half. I'm just saying like breaks are okay. And we need to keep our mental health healthy because of all these crazy things that we see. And if we are not healthy, we're not going to be able to stay in this fight and help people, you know, get the money, get the things that they need, get the food, get the shelter, all that kind of stuff. So I just want to remind you to keep yourself in check, take
absolutely,
those breaks when you need to, you know?
and be gentle with your loved ones too, because like
Yes.
you know how like how we act with strangers sometimes. It's like, oh, we're not actually our true selves because we're like, oh, how's it going? Sometimes, like, you take the stress of the world and what's going around you, and with the people you are most comfortable with is when you kind of,
Yes.
just say something in a rude way because you're kind of tired, you're not on guard. 'Cause like, yeah, we got to take care of each other too, and like,
And I
watch
will
how
fully
it
admit to
bleeds
that
into
as
our
well
own lives.
too. I fully admit to that too. It's very easy to take out your own pain and anguish on people that you're closest with. And it's hard. It's hard not to because like they say one thing and it's like, why would you say that? You know what I mean? So I totally get what you were saying. And it really is hard to keep yourself in check, and be like, it's not their fault that the world is the way it is. You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
have to remember that. Yeah.
We're fighting all these big battles constantly. We forget how important like the small ones are too. You know what I mean? Like, and actually need to give those our attention too. And like, you know what I mean by that. I didn't say it in the right way, but like,
No, no, no. I understand what you mean because it is very important. I know I do it too. I don't mean to. I don't think that you mean to do it either, but it's really hard. Like for me, for example, like it's really hard to see all those videos and all of those terrible images that we see all the time and then go home and be like, oh, nothing's wrong. I'm totally fine. You know what like we're not
exactly,
psychopaths. We can't disconnect the two in our brains. And so it does play out at home. And I think that it's very important that we make time and that we say, hey, I love you. this is important to me, but, you're important to me as well. So we just have to, keep that as part of our mental health check.
Mhm.
So that way the people around us are healthy and know that they're loved as well, too.
Absolutely. And I love you, Kim.
I love you too, Steve. I just want to say that I know that people know we're friends, but I don't think people realize like how close we really are. And we haven't been in contact as much the last couple of weeks as we normally have been, which we need to fix.
Let's
We
start
need to
doing,
start talking.
let's start
Yeah, we need to start. Yes, I would love to
the
do
more
this with you at
content you
least.
have, the more stuff you can put
Yes.
together, the more like, yeah.
Yeah. I think we may even just switch and do it on TikTok directly and
I don't see what, oh yeah. I was like,
call it a little chat.
if I had another phone, I was like, I could have been going live on TikTok while I did this.
I know, it's okay. I didn't even think about that, but I could have too. Duh.
Well, this is how we do it. The
Duh.
more we do it, the more we learn
Yes.
how to like evolve and stuff. And I'm proud of you for taking the initiative. And I'm
Thank
willing to
you.
come on and be a co-host or just as a guest anytime. Can you have multiple
Yeah, I will
people
definitely.
on, or can
Yes, I can have as many people on this channel as I want. So it just really depends on like I know that your connection isn't very great, so I will see what the actual footage looks like when we get all done. But
it's usable?
I hope it is too. But we will see, and then I will definitely post this as like to the podcast. I'll probably just clip all this little pieces out since nobody's even in here anyway. But I will definitely post this to my podcast, and then if you would want to, we could even get together and do this a little bit more online or on TikTok as well. Call it like a weekly check-in or something. We could just do it for like maybe 45 minutes a week or something like that.
That's awesome, actually. Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay. And then we could talk about like what's going on in the current week, projects that we want to help with, all that kind of stuff, and just like bounce ideas off each other because I know you are just like me and our brain is like full of all these ideas all the time. And sometimes you just need someone else to like banter with to get your ideas on the paper and actually make something happen with them.
Or just to do it, like, hey, do this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Bet.
You are a big encouragement for me, Steve. I just want you to know that the fact that you show up here every day and you keep going is inspiring for me because I know I have a hard time doing that sometimes. So,
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, the thing popped up. It threw me off for a
Well, I
second.
got it too.
The storage thing?
Yeah,
I was like,
it'll
huh?
be fine. It saves to the cloud, so it should be fine.
I'm like, am I recording?
No, you're not.
But hey, I thank you for saying that because I wanted to, like, we inspire each other, and it's not easy to keep going every day.
It's not.
But I think if we can, I think it's important because the Palestinian people see that
They do
and
need us.
they recognize that, and the fact that the godfather of the journalists have been wanting to come on more and more, Sammy lately. Jackie used to be on panels with them like back in the day, like before we were even connected to all this as much. He only comes to people's panels that he truly believes in. He doesn't come for the coins. He wants because he respects what we're doing and we show up every day. And he just wants to keep us updated and like I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
I'm saying I'm going to keep going no matter what. Never going to stop until all the children are safe at home in their beds without dreams of bombs going off over their heads. The Palestinian people have the right to self-determination, and then we're going on to Congo, Sudan, Turtle Island, land back, LGBTQ+, like all the oppressed people in the world are connected. Yeah.
There are so many issues in our world, and we'll never be finished. We'll never be finished.
Well, freedom is something that's not given. It's something or that's something you not just get and you have it. Oh, we got freedom. Cool. What do you want to do? Freedom is something you have to constantly fight for, even in your personal life. Remember that in your personal life too. But, yeah, especially here in America.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me for a little while, Steve. We will do this again.
Absolutely.
Do you want to do your little sign-off thing that you do all the time? I think it's fun.
Heck yeah, and I'm thinking about trying to do more lives too. Like Jackie's a good singer. Like she actually has some like music videos out.
I know she is. I know she is.
Like,
I've
we're
heard
talking
her
about
sing
doing
live.
maybe some more karaoke nights like here, like going live and doing like requests and stuff just to try and like earn more funds for families or or turning in But yeah, I'll do my official sign off here. So first I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna say, hey, free Palestine, right? Free Palestine. Get free Palestine. Free Palestine. And then I'll say peace. That's not peace. Peace is when you and I come together, look at the balloons and go, comrades, I love you. I appreciate you. We are a wolf pack. I salute you. We're out.